count. One, there is a sentence of 15 years to life to be served at the High Department of Rehabilitation.
It's always a satisfying moment when corrupt cops are served quick karma, and there's no place better than a courtroom. Just like this probation officer who made the biggest mistake of provoking a judge.
I said that originally, but they told me that the judge don't make the rules here. That was the quote that they...
Who told you that? Oh, hold on. Mr. Flanagan, call Mr. Farmer right now. Call him right now.
Yes.
Judge Lennice Bryant had sentenced an individual to 12 months of probation in May, and this was the 6-month review of his time on probation. As the session began, the judge was genuinely impressed by the defendant's remarkable effort.
Restitution of $30,000 was paid in full. You completed the theft awareness class. You have done some. You did choices.
Yes, ma'am.
Through eBay, and then you've completed 8 of the 10 gamblers counseling. Well, let's see. How many gamblers counseling is left?
I finished all 10.
Oh, you did?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When did you finish? Because she just sent me this.
This would have been last week on, I believe, Friday.
The individual, Jalen Lee, had made genuine efforts to improve, and he was turning his life around. He had completed everything, apart from his fee, but something was seriously wrong, and the judge was about to uncover it.
So let's do this. How long do you think it'll take for you to complete or pay the 510?
I started a new job within, 2 days? So my first paycheck within basically 2 weeks, I'll be able to pay it.
You gonna give us all your money? I don't know how much the check is. Don't give me the saying it's all your money. I mean, it's literally been all my money. So. Right. But I can give you a couple of months if you want a couple of extra months. I can give you a couple of months.
I mean, yeah, that will work better. Absolutely. Whichever one works.
Months. You're not scheduled until May 2nd. I could give you a date in late January if that'll be better for you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I can confirm it with probation, and then I can discharge them without appearance. So we'll put it on the docket for a discharge.
Okay.
The judge was incredibly kind, but she had no clue how the probation officers had been mistreating Lee. Watch her reaction as she learns what's really been going on.
Excuse me, Miss Bryant. So up until this point, I'm still expected to check in regularly and do the normal probation process until January.
What do you mean by that? Tell me what do you do? What's the normal probation process?
Well, because originally they were telling me that once I came into this review, I could have the potential to be discharged from the probation since I did all the classes and everything like that.
So here,
right now,
I'm gonna interrupt you, Mr. Lee. You're on a non-reporting probation anyway. So if they've had you reporting monthly, you didn't have to do that.
I said that originally, but they told me that the judge don't make the rules here. That was the quote that they...
Who told you that? Oh, hold on. Mr. Flanagan, call Mr. Farmer right now. Call him right now.
The probation officers, clearly unaware of the law, had tried to challenge the judge's ruling, never expecting that she would find out. Things were about to take a serious turn for the corrupt probation officer.
It's gonna be a great day. Call them right now. I need you to tell us who told you that. Call them right now. Matter of fact, you can call Mr. Wade too. Call them right now. Because I'm about to. Yes. I like you, Mr. Lee. I like you. You didn't even mean to tell on them, but you did.
Yeah, I didn't. It's Miss Bryson. She's no longer there anymore. That was the former probation officer that I had.
Let me make sure they have a meeting with probation while you on here. Let's make sure they have a meeting with the probation, because if I ever hear somebody say that again, I'm gonna hold them in contempt.
Understood.
Yeah, but we gonna do this right now. Oh, I'm so excited. This turned out to be a great Tuesday.
No one can override a judge's authority, but these entitled probation officers seemed to think they were above her too. Mr. Farmer was about to be put firmly in his place.
Supposed to be reporting on a monthly basis, and we getting ready to nip that in the bud right now. I'm so excited for my future and yours. I told him that, and then you should have just not shown up. Nothing would have happened to you. Nothing.
I just was nervous. I didn't want to get violated. I was just trying to follow the rules.
You said Mr. Farmer is logging in right now?
Yes, Your Honor.
He's not logging in. He must not have been at his computer. And it is correct that Miss Bryson is no longer with. That could be the reason, part of the reason she's not here, because she thought the judge didn't make the rules. I don't know why she's not here anymore.
Yeah.
So, Your Honor, my understanding is that the requirements of Mr. Lee are that he complete the payment of $510 and provide proof that he's completed the Gamblers Council classes.
Right, and then I'm gonna discharge him without him ever having to go see probation again. See how that works? Because I do make the rules, Mr. Lee.
Yes, ma'am.
As Lee explained further, the judge noticed another bizarre practice carried out by these thugs, which needed to be addressed.
And then I'll go do the drug screen as well.
What
every
drug
month.
screen?
They've been having me do a drug screen. I was like, I don't even smoke, or my case had nothing to do with anything, drug related, but I've been doing the drug screen every month.
Mr. Lee, let me apologize on behalf of the court. And I'm thankful that Miss Bryson no longer works here, because she might have got fired today.
Understood.
So you do not have to drug test. My order specifically says no urinalysis was ordered. And so what I'm going to do is refund you any money that you have paid for your drug screens. So where were you testing?
It was a Rochester Hills location. I forget the name of it, but it was like a few minutes from my house.
By this point, the judge was furious. Moments later, Supervisor Farmer arrived, only to be met with the full force of her anger, and rightly so.
The lead used to be supervised by someone who no longer works here, so that's good, because they might have got fired today if they still worked here. Miss Bryson. Miss Bryson told Mr. Lee, who she made report to probation every month, that I don't make the rules. He told her, has had this man drug screening every month when my order specifically says no urinalysis ordered. What I called you on here for is because she no longer works here. In your next meeting, just make sure nobody ever tells one of my probationers that, because that might get them held in contempt of court, because that doesn't even make sense. Mr. Flanagan, what I am going to do is deduct. I'm just going to give him $150 credit for his inconvenience and his time.
Luckily for the female officer, she was no longer employed. Otherwise, she might have had quite a beating here. Officer Farmer calmly listened as the judge laid out everything that had happened.
Send that, if he finishes, you can send it to his new probation officer. But I'm telling you this in the presence of Mr. Farmer, you do not have to show up and report to probation, and you do not have to drug test. You only have to pay the balance and finish those 2 classes. Oh no, you said you finished the classes.
Yes, ma'am, I finished them.
Okay, so we just need proof of the counseling.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Farmer, you gonna take care of that for me? I've never had a probation officer say that before, so I think you got a good team, but that made me nervous.
The poor judge was apologetic throughout the encounter, and she was correct to reward the individual who had done so much after being sentenced.
That was some bad advice. That was some bad instructions. And like I said, she doesn't work here anymore. And if she did, today she was probably going to either be fired or held in contempt of court. So I'm glad we didn't have to cross that bridge. Thank you, Mr. Farmer, and
No
for
problem,
coming
man.
on. Thank you so much. Mr. Lee, thank you for sharing that information. And I, again, apologize for the inconvenience. You did not have to do those things.
While this probation officer escaped the karma, watch how one of the worst killer cops in the country's history was sentenced and punished.
The court commits you to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 270 months. That's 270.
George Floyd's death sparked worldwide protests and immediately led to the firing of the accused officer, Derek Chauvin. He was also criminally charged with second-degree murder. During his trial, the judge called forward another officer who had earlier stopped Floyd in a prior incident.
When you approached Mr. Floyd, he said, "Don't shoot me, man. I don't want to get shot," right?
Something like that, yes.
You told him to undo his seatbelt, correct?
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
And he did that, right?
Yes, he did.
And then you said, put your hands where I can see them, correct?
Yes.
And then he put his hands in the air?
Yes,
And then you told him to put his hands on the dash, is that right?
that's correct.
And that was when you grabbed his hand and forcibly put it on the dashboard of the vehicle, correct? We're going to tase him, right?
That's what I heard, yes.
And you were yelling pretty loud, correct?
Yes, I was, yes. It escalated real quick.
Some profanity as well, correct?
Yes,
And you had your gun drawn the whole time you were giving commands, right?
once I started ordering him and he refused to show me his hands, yes, eventually it escalated where I pulled my gun, yes, ma'am.
This shows this wasn't the first time Mr. Floyd had an intense face-off with the cops, and also proved the racist cops in the city.
You were interacting with Mr. Floyd. He didn't collapse on the ground, correct?
Wait a minute, what was the question? Can you speak up a little louder, ma'am?
While you were interacting with Mr. Floyd, he didn't collapse on the ground, correct?
No, he did not.
Well, the answer is stricken. The objection is sustained.
You were asking questions about what the other officers were doing, correct?
That's correct.
Your attention was focused on Mr. Floyd, correct?
Yes, it was.
And Mr. Floyd didn't drop dead while you were interacting with him, correct?
No.
Other than this, the trial didn't last very long, and eventually, Judge Peter Cahill announced the sentence for the killer cop.
All the impact statements that were submitted earlier, and listen carefully to all the input here today, and it is truly appreciated. But my comments are actually going to be very brief, because most of it's going to be in writing. I have a 22-page memorandum that is going to be attached to the sentencing order. And why am I doing it in writing? To emphasize the fact that determining the appropriate sentence in any case, and in this case, is a legal analysis. It's applying the rule of law to the facts of an individual and specific case. And that is why, as opposed to trying to being profound here on the record, I prefer that you read the legal analysis that explains how I determined the sentence in this case.
The judge made it clear that his decision was not influenced by public outrage or emotions. He emphasized that the verdict was based solely on the legal facts, ensuring that justice was served fairly and impartially.
Painful throughout Hennepin County, throughout the state of Minnesota, and even the country. But most importantly, we need to recognize the pain of the Floyd family. I'm not going to attempt to be profound or clever, because it's not the appropriate time. I'm not basing my sentence also on public opinion. I'm not basing it on any attempt to send any messages. A trial court judge, the job of a trial court judge is to apply the law to specific facts and to deal with individual cases.
Shortly after, the judge announced the sentence, finally giving the Floyd family some sort of relief.
Based on the verdict of the jury, finding you guilty of unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony under Minnesota Statute 609.19 subdivision 2 paren 1, it is the judgment of the court that you now stand convicted of that offense. Pursuant to Minnesota Statute section 60904, counts 2 and 3 will remain unadjudicated as they are lesser offenses of count 1. As sentence for count 1, the court commits you to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 270 months. That's 270. That is a 10-year addition to the presumptive sentence of 150 months. This is based on your abuse of a position of trust and authority.
Chauvin was sentenced to 22.5 years in prison, which likely suggests he would be spending the rest of his life in prison, which he totally deserves.
Mandatory surcharge of $78 to be paid from prison wages. You're prohibited from possessing firearms, ammunition, or explosives for the remainder of your life. Provide a DNA sample as required by law. Register as a predatory offender as required by law. And then you will receive a copy of the order and also the attached memorandum explaining the court's analysis. Anything further from the state?
If this needs to be said, we just ask that it be executed forthwith.
To Defendant is remanded to the custody of the sheriff to be transported back to the DOC or whichever custody is currently holding him. Anything for the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. We are adjourned.
Chauvin remains incarcerated, where he was later attacked and stabbed multiple times by another inmate, reportedly a gang leader. He survived the incident and continues to serve his sentence under increased security. While this cop got what he deserved, watch how the judge humbled and sentenced this next killer cop who committed an even more egregious act.
Sentence of 15 years to life to be served at the High Department of Rehabilitation.
This is Columbus police officer Adam Coy, who was charged with first-degree murder after he shot an innocent individual while he was on police duty and out for a call. Adam pleaded not guilty to the charges and hoped to get away with the act he committed. The poor guy shot was 47-year-old Andre Hill, who was leaving his friend's home when he was confronted by Coy and shot 4 times. Shockingly, Hill didn't even have a weapon on him while this happened. Adam's legal team argued that he must be set off on a low-priced bond as he was acting in the officer's safety and had no motive to commit the murder. The defense argued that the officer wasn't a threat to society, but he was a threat while he was a police officer. During his 19 years of service, more than 90 people have complained against him for the use of excessive force. Shortly after the argument made by this attorney, the prosecutor addressed the court and told the judge why the bond should be set much higher than what the defense had proposed, as this was a murder case. Realizing the gravity of the case, the judge also sided with the family of Andre Hill as he set up a $3 million bond.
Sir, I'm accepting your not guilty plea. I've considered arguments by both sides with respect to bond. I am setting bond at $3 million short your appearance, $20,000 recop. As a further condition of bond, the defendant shall have no contact and stay away from any of the witnesses or addresses identified in the indictment. Also, defendant shall have no contact with other police officers. I'm sorry?
Would the court consider lower than $3 million
You know, that is based on everything that I've heard. That is the bond that I've set. If you wish to address it with the assigned judge, duty judge, feel free. Thank you.
Fortunately, the bond amount was pretty huge, and shortly after the trial ended, a sentence was announced for Coy.
Count 3, reckless homicide. We have a general confusion on how to think of this concept and apply the instruction. 1. Can you define heedless indifference? The response from the court was heedless indifference is not a legal term, so you must rely on your everyday understanding and usage. As to that question, on behalf of the state, find the defendant was committing or attempting to commit felonious assault, you must find beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant knowingly, 1, caused serious physical harm to Andre Hill, or caused or attempted to cause physical harm to Andre Hill by means of a deadly weapon. In other words, does the knowingly aspect of this statement apply to both aspects of the definition? And the response from the court was yes.
Finally, the jury returned a verdict finding the corrupt officer guilty of murder, ensuring he. Moving on, the judge finally announced Adam Coy's sentence, bringing a sense of justice and relief to Andre Hill's family.
Sentence of 15 years to life to be served at the High Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections. Fine and court cost are waived. Record does reflect 274 days of jail time credit. Because
Adam Coy was eventually sentenced to life in prison, which he definitely deserved. Well, that brings us to the end of this video. Today we saw cases where rogue and corrupt police officers were taken to the cleaners in courtroom and got served with some quick karma.